Good morning everyone, it is Tuesday the 9th of March. So today we are going to round decimals to nearest tenth or one decimal place. So that's one digit then after to the right of the decimal point. So the things we're looking for today is that you understand what each digit represents in terms of place value and that you can round to one decimal place. Okay, so it's really important that you watch the video carefully and complete all tasks within it, okay, before you attempt the quiz later on. Okay, so this is our little warm-up activity as usual, and it's just covering some of the concepts that you would have been introduced to earlier this year. So I want you to get your jotter ready and I want you to complete these questions on your own. So I want you to pause the video now before I get through the answers. Okay, so first question, 4.3 take away 0.5. You may have well written this question out in a written method, or maybe you completed it mentally, so I'll just demonstrate. So 3 take away 5 you can't do, 13 take away 5 is 8, 3 take away 0 is 3, remember to put your decimal point in, 3.8 is your answer. Okay, so if you don't know your 12 times tables off by heart yet, you may have used a strategy similar to this here. So 12 times 10 is 120, 12 times 2 is 24, and just combine your answers, 144. So that's a good strategy if you're not 100% with some of your tables. Write down the first 5 multiples of 9. So you have 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. Okay, the next question. A clock shows this time twice a day. So that is 22:5. Tick the 2 digital clocks that show this time. Okay, so it's 22:5. So we don't know if it's AM or PM, but this is 20 to 5 as an AM time in 24 o'clock, and 20 to 5 here. Okay, 16:40, so that's a 24 time again, and that is an evening time. A group of friends earn £60 by selling lemonade. They share the money equally and they get £12 each. How many friends are in the group? Okay, so there may be a number of different strategies that people use to answer this question. So it's £60 and they get £12 each. You may have completed it in a similar method to this here. So 12, 24, 36, 48 and 60, which means there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. You may have used a different strategy, but altogether there are 5 friends in the group and they all get £12 each. So before we complete our work based on rounding decimals to the nearest tenth, I thought it'd be good to look at the decimal place value chart again, because we're going to be looking at decimals that go to more than one decimal place. Okay, so I'm going to write out some examples on this chart just to give you an idea of the type of numbers that we're going to be looking at today. So if I write down a number, so okay, so 9.163. Okay, so that's 9.163, and it's 1/10, 600ths, and 3 thousandths. Okay, and I'll try another one. So 3.874. Okay, so that's 8/10, 700ths, and 4 thousandths. Okay, now if I look back at the first example, okay, if I was going to round that first number to one decimal place, so 1/10, I look at this 1 here, okay, and I need to look at the digit after, directly after it. So the digit after is 6, so you've got 16, so 9.16, I can ignore the last digit. 9.16, so if I was rounding that to the nearest tenth, would it be 9.1 or would it be 9.2? So I need to think, the 16, is it closer to 9.1 or is it closer to 9.2? Okay, so if you use that rounding strategy, you would have learned a long time ago in primary school. So so if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you go up, and if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, you go down. So you can see it's 9.16, you're going to go up, so it's going to be 9.2. If I look at the other example, so it's 3.87. If I was rounding that number, so it's 8/10, 700ths, I can ignore the last digit. So 3.87, and would that be 3.8 or would it be 3.9? And you can see it's closer to 3.9, so 87, because it's 5 or above, remember, you go up, so 3.9. This slide will hopefully make the rounding of decimals to the nearest tenth of a decimal a little bit clearer. And first of all, why do we round? So if you think about it, if you have a dog and you weighed your dog, and your dog was 14.6789 kilograms, okay, and someone asked you what weight your dog was, would you really say 14.67893 kilograms? No, you would round it to the nearest kilogram, okay? So when you look, if I was rounding this to the nearest kilogram, it's either going to be 14 kilograms or it's going to be 15 kilograms. So if I look at the 14.67, well, if I'm doing it to the nearest tenth of a decimal, so 14.6, I can round up, because it's 5 or above, you round up. I could round this here to 14.7, and then to the nearest kilogram, it would be 15 kg. Okay, so now I'm going to go through these examples on the slide. So it says round each of the numbers below to one decimal place. So the first example is 3.47. Okay, and it has little intervals here, so it starts 3.4, 3.5, or sorry, 3.4, 3.41, 3.42, and so on until you get to 3.47. And you need to decide whether or not 3.47 is closer to 3.4 or 3.5. Now this little grid gives us a good indication, okay, so we can clearly see that it is closer to 3.5. So your answer here to one decimal place is 3.5. Okay, now these are good because you have a little grid to help you. In the examples that we're going to look at later on in the video, there is no grid, but hopefully we'll know the process by then. So the next number is 0.11, so 0.11. Now, is it closer to 0.1 or 0.2? And you can clearly see that it's closer to 0.1. Okay, then we've 9.84. Is it closer to 9.8 or is it closer to 9.9? Okay, so these little intervals are going up by 1/100th each time, so it would be 9.81, 9.82, 9.83, 9.84, 9.85. And remember that process, if it's below, so if it's 4 or less, you go down. So we're going down here and it's 9.8, okay? So we don't need that 4 at the end. Same with here, we don't need the 1, so we're going to one decimal place. So 12.75, is it 12.7 or is it 12.8? Okay, so you can clearly see this one here is right in the middle. So if it's 5 or above, you go up, so you round it up and it becomes 12.8. Okay, so the examples contained in this slide are more difficult than the previous examples because they not only focus on tenths and hundredths, they go right the way to hundreds of thousands, okay? Not all of them, but some of them. So the first one, 4.282, is it closer to 4.2 or 4.3? You can clearly see from the number line here that it actually helps you, and it's closer to 4.2. But how do we arrive at this answer? Well, you focus on the 82, and the 82, because it's 50 or above, you'll go up, so you're going to go up to 4.3. The next example, 7.725, and you're going between 7.7 and 7.8, so you're focusing on the 25, okay, so it's less than 50, so you go down, so you're going down to 7.7, okay. 2.548, so 2.548, with the number line you can just see it's just short of halfway, so then you go down to 2.5. But why do you go down to 2.5? Well, you look at the 48, okay, so 48 is less than 50, therefore you go down, okay. The last example, and this is quite a tricky one as well, so we're looking at an interval of 1.6 or 1.7. The number is 1.6631. Now from this line you can see it's over halfway, but I say you will have examples where you don't have a number line like this here, and you need to decide whether you go up or whether you go down when you're rounding. So 6631, so you have to focus on the last 3 digits, okay? The 631, and you think of 631, it's greater than 500, so therefore you're going to go up, okay? And that is why you've went for 1.7. Okay, so now we're looking at examples where we don't have that number line to help us, and we don't have a choice of numbers to choose from, okay? So we have to use our knowledge of rounding up or rounding down to help us. So the first one is 4.82. So if I look at 4.82 and I'm focusing on this 82, so this 82, 4.82, if I'm rounding this to 1 decimal place, so 82, is it closer to 4.8 or 4.9? Well, it's closer to 4.8, so your answer here would be 4.8. Okay, the 6.19, so I'm focusing 19, is it closer to 6.1 or 6.2? Well, 19 is closer to 6.2. 9.77, so the 77, is the 77 closer to 9.7 or 9.8? So it's closer to 9.8. 10.63 is the 63, so is it closer to 10.6 or 10.7? So it's because it's 3, it's below 5, so you go round down, so it's 10.6. And you notice that each time it's 1 decimal place. There's only 1 decimal number after the decimal point. For example, 4.8, 6.2, 9.8, 10.6. So 21.41, okay, to 1 decimal place, so it's 41. Is your answer going to be 21.4 or 21.5? And it's going to be 21.4 because that 1 is less than 5, so therefore you round down, so 21.4. 3.14, so focus on this 14. Is it going to be 3.1 or 3.2? It's going to be 3.2. And finally, 48.18. So is it going to be 48.1 or 48.2? It's going to be 48.2. Okay, so now I want you to pause the video because I want you to complete the remaining questions now in your jotters. Okay, so pause now. So 29.26 is going to be 29.3. 80.85 is going to be 80.9. 0.43 is going to be 0.4. 248.38 is going to be 248.4. 637.51 is going to be 637.5. 62.89 is going to be 62.3. And 9.99 is quite a tricky one. 9.99 is going to be 10.0 or just 10. Okay, both exactly the same number. So 10.0 or 10. Okay, so this is the last set of examples. I'm just going to model their completion for you so that hopefully you have a good understanding of how to complete these tasks before you begin your assignment today. So again, rounding each number to the nearest tenth, which is 1 decimal place. So if I look at the first example, it's 5.191. So what I'm going to concentrate on is the next 2 digits, the 5.19 and 5.19. Is it closer to 5.1 or 5.2? Well, it's going to be closer to 5.2. Okay, because 19 is closer to 20 than it is to 10. So the next one, 8.246. So I'm going to concentrate on these 2 digits here, the 24. Now, is that 24? So 8.24, is that closer to 8.2 or 8.3? Well, it's closer to 8.2. Okay, 10.087. So I'm just going to concentrate on the first 2 digits, the 0 and 8. 10.08. So is that 0.8, is it closer to 10.1 or is it closer to 10.0? Okay, and it's closer to 10.1. The next one, 39.555. So concentrating this 55. Is that closer to 39.5, or is it going to be rounded up to 39.6? Okay, so it's going to be rounded up to 39.6 because it's 50 or above, so it's 55. So 0.83. So look at the 83. Is that 83 closer to 0.8 or 0.9? Well, it's closer to 0.8. Then we have 93.29. So that 29. Is that closer to 93.2 or 93.3? It's closer to 93.3 because it's 29. It's closer to 30 than it is to 20. 38.31. So that 31. Is it closer to 38.3 or is it closer to 38.4? Well, it's closer to 38.3 because it's 31. So I don't know why I've put the decimal point there and take that out. So 38.3. Okay. Now the next one, 7.26. Again, concentrate on the 26. So is that 26 closer to 20 or to 30? So it's closer to 20, so 7.3. Then we have 0.54, so look at 54, is it closer to 0.5 or 0.6? It's closer to 0.6, so it doesn't matter about all these digits at the end. The thing I need to focus on is the first two digits, and that is it.